Alright, we're live. Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and welcome to another Manchester United review on the channel. Thanks for RMoldJane174 for joining already, really appreciate it. Before we get into the match review, I just want to say as well, I'm joined by Dazza from Dazza's Football Stand. His link's in the description down below, make sure you check it out. But before I get into the review as well, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video if you haven't already. And if you're watching live, make sure you get your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comment section below. But as you can see, Manchester United have beaten Sheffield United 3-0. 2 points now between us and 4th place. A massive result for us really in the context of the top 4 race. And depending on other results this weekend, it could stay that way and we could be looking at only 1 win away from the top 4 places as it stands. So a massive win for us. We need to get that, and we did it. But as I said, I'm joined by Daryl from Dazza's Football Stand. Dazza, how are you doing, my friend? How's it going?
I'm alright, thanks. Very, very warm here. And yeah, as Kieran said, if you didn't already know, we and Kieran literally did the watch along on my channel. Once again, thanks for agreeing to come on, because it was a good stream in the end.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really enjoyable. But yeah, I'm all right. I've been struggling recently with back pain. As I'm not sure if you noticed on the stream, but
all right, yeah.
You know, I've struggled with that last couple of days. I think I pulled a muscle or something, or even both muscles in my back, but it's not very comfortable. But very, very happy with the result. Very happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 3-0 win. You can't be much happier than that, really. But yeah, Arnold really, he really sets the tone. 50 million down drain. Tony Marshall scores again. A hat-trick, the first hat-trick from a Manchester United player since 2013, and Ron Van Persie getting a hat-trick. So a massive result for him. A massive result for Man United in general. For me, I just want to talk a bit about the game in general. Obviously, I think everyone played well, I'd say. Everyone had a good game. I think there are a few standout players, obviously, but most people, played well. And to win 3-0, I think was a superb result for us. Sheffield United, to be fair, weren't. They didn't seem too much in the game. They didn't seem. They seemed a bit out of sorts. You could tell they were tired, and I think especially towards the end of that game, they were definitely very, very tired indeed. And we were exploiting them left, right, and centre. But you still have to put the ball in the back of the net, and that is what Anthony Martial did. 3 brilliant finishes, absolutely clinical in front of goal. It could have been 5 or 6 if Rashford had scored. And Pogba and Bruno Fernandes did really, really well. Playing the best football that I've seen from Man United midfield in a long time. As I said, Pogba, they could have both had a few assists this game. Marcus Rashford, of course, assisting 2 out of 3 of the goals. But yeah, great performance overall. Daz, I want to ask you first and foremost, who was your man of the match in that game?
There was a couple of candidates. I felt everyone had a good game. But the one that I think stood out really for me, it was obviously Tony Martial getting the hat-tricks. Very superb goals, to be honest. But I've picked Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And reason being is because not only did he was involved in the first 2 goals, but I don't think he really put a foot wrong in the game at all. I don't think he put a foot wrong at all. I thought he was superb for practically the whole game. He was quite solid defensively. Okay, there was 1 or 2 things that didn't go according to plan, but forget about that. I thought he was spot on. I mean, and considering he didn't play that well at all against Tottenham Hotspur, I think that was one of the worst performances I'd seen from him against Tottenham Hotspur. But he came back today and he looked raring to go from the first minute. He's tacking down the right hand side, and obviously we know Ollie likes the fullbacks to attack and overlap all the time. But I thought some of the movement on and off the ball was fantastic, and that's why I've given him man of the match. I don't think he really put a foot wrong.
Yeah, look, I think Wan-Bissaka is a good shout. I think I think, obviously he got the assist for the first goal. Really, really good work down the right-hand side. I think his attacking play definitely needs to work on it a little bit. And I think we've been saying that since he joined Manchester United. But he has put in some really good deliveries into the box this season and set up a few goals. And obviously, one of the main ones was against Chelsea, set up that goal where Martial finished it off. Important goal, that one. An important goal today, obviously, because obviously the second goal in that game was very, very important for us to win. I remember, doing the watch along with you, Daz, on your channel. I remember we were all, saying we need that second goal, and so for it to come before half time as well was the perfect time to score. So, really happy with that. And yeah, I thought Wan-Bissaka didn't do too much wrong. But yeah, for me, Martial gets man of the match. I would say, just to score a hat-trick, the first hat-trick since 2013, a massive statement from him. And I'm very, very happy for him. A lot of haters out there on Martial. And to be fair, I've been someone who's criticised Martial a bit in the past for sometimes his lack of commitment and lack of finishing. But you can't argue with what he's done today. He was brilliant. And took all of his chances when he needed to do so. So very, very happy for Martial. Very, very happy for the team. Pogba, I thought, played really well. Could have had a few assists himself as well in that game. Rashford missing a few chances but made 2 goals himself. So again, he could have had a few. Rashford could have a few goals. It could have been 7 or 8 today. Really could. Sheffield were not at it at all. I want to ask as well, Daryl, and also to anyone who is watching right now in the live chat, I want to ask, obviously you've spoken about the man of the match, but how do you think the partnership between Pogba and Fernandes kind of went today? How do you think it planned out? Because I thought both players had decent enough games, but do you see signs of a flourishing partnership, coming through there?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, absolutely. I think if there's ever a time when they're both on the pitch, they seem to have a good understanding with each other, which is a very, very good sign and I think a lot of people will agree. When they both play, it's like watching a different Manchester United midfield. If there's only one of them playing, then I don't think. I think we lack a bit of creativity when Pogba doesn't play. But the understanding between the two players is absolutely amazing. And, since Fernandes came in, he's made a big difference. Made a massive difference, actually, not a big difference, but a massive difference to United's midfield. And when those two play, it makes the midfield more and more stronger. And I think they have a really good bonding with each other. Mm.
When he came back against Watford, we saw it, and he was absolutely fantastic then. But he's got a long run of games right now, and he seems to be doing the business for us. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes came back as well and was fantastic. I think there's still a little bit of rust on Bruno Fernandes, but I think he still created a lot of the chances and made a lot of inroads. So I'm very happy with how Bruno Fernandes is playing. I'll turn it back on now. But yeah, I think it was a good performance all round, really. Defensively, I mean, they didn't have to really cope with too much in the end. Obviously, Victor Lindelof was picked in front of Eric Bailly. Do you think that was a bit of a strange decision from Solskjaer?
Not really. I think Lindelof. I mean, a lot of people disagree, and a lot of people say that Lindelof, shouldn't be starting ahead of Bailly. But I think Lindelof this season has been quite good. It's been very good for the team. There's not only that, but you have to remember the fact that he's the number one option practically for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And, that's why I wasn't, when he started today, when I saw him on the starting lineup, I'm thinking, well, that doesn't surprise me, And I think a lot of people weren't surprised, especially if Solskjaer's come out and, well, he hasn't really come out, but, I mean, he came out and talked about David De Gea and stuff, but, I'll get my teeth in a second.
Don't worry.
But the fact that he always trusts. He always trusts that he's going to put in a good performance, and I can probably understand why. I felt today. I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was that bad. A lot of people have criticised him at late, but I thought he was decent. I mean, there was no one in the team who really put a foot wrong, and I think he was certainly one of them who didn't put a foot wrong. So, why he's been getting all this, hate from United fans? I really don't understand it. But no, I don't think I've got anything else to say.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well, Daryl, to be fair. I think you did. I think, everyone played a good game today. I can't think of anyone who didn't. Mo and the Mountain Man, thanks for joining, guys. Really appreciate it. Mo says, could have been 5 or 6, mate. Rashford on form. Would have had a brace in the first half. I agree. Totally agree. If he could... I think his finishings have been a bit off since he's come back from lockdown. But I think... Rashford could have easily had 2 goals today. It could have been 4 or 5 before the end of the first half. So, that was a bit frustrating. It did make me feel a bit nervous that we are going to rue those chances in the second half. But in the end of the day, we got through it and we got the 3 points. The Mountain Man, thanks for joining as well. And TTX, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. He says Tony Marshall scores again. Yeah, echoing what Arnmold said as well. A hat-trick for Anthony Martial, massive for him. 14 goals in the Premier League this season, the same as Marcus Rashford. Nearly 30 goals between the two of them in the Premier League this season. And to think that both of them have been injured as well. Both of them have been injured at points this season. To have nearly 30 goals between them this season is very, very good. And obviously we've still got another 7 games to go as well, so a lot more to get out of that. But Mo mentioned Rashford there. Of course, Rashford did miss a few gilt-edged chances. Obviously one where he should have finished. Are you worried at all by Rashford's lack of finishing, or do you think it's just a bit of rust?
Not really. I think all strikers go into a bit of a rusty patch of not finding the target. I've got faith in Rashford. I think he'll come. I think he'll come back in the next game, looking to get a few goals to his name. I mean, I have no idea how he missed that. I don't know how he missed that open goal chance, man. That was easier to score and miss. But I think it's one of those things. I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried by the fact that he missed those chances, because all players miss chances like that, and it comes with the territory, especially when you're a striker. But I felt that, if he's going to be one of the world-class strikers, those are the chances you have to be taking. And obviously, I'm not happy that he missed those chances, because that could have given United, more goals, and could have made the margin of victory even bigger. We could have been about 4-0 up at half time if we'd actually took those chances. So yeah, not happy. I'm not happy that he missed those chances, but I'm not worried at all, because I think I've got faith in him. I think he can carry on. And next game, I think he'll get himself a goal.
Yeah, hopefully a goal too. Another hat-trick we're doing the world of good. Mo says, imagine what quality right winger could have added to the game. Greenwood was absolutely fantastic, but I'm not sure if his preferred position is on the wing. Obviously, Greenwood looked alright today, but I think, obviously all the talk of Jadon Sancho potentially coming in. If Sancho had been on that right wing, we could have caused absolute destruction. But I mean, as you say, Greenwood, didn't do badly today. He created quite a few chances. But yeah, maybe playing. Maybe his preferred position is playing through the middle. I'm not sure. But obviously, with Rashford and Martial playing so well, it's going to be hard for him to break through. But we'll see how everything goes. Mountain Man says finishing 4th should be our top priority now. 100%, mate. 100%. Obviously, we're still in the Europa League, so we've still got another way to potentially get to the Champions League. But I think 4th would be our highest finish in a while. So I think I think finishing fourth would just be a bit of a step forward as well. It shows we're making progress. Mo also, 6 behind Leicester, Mo, yeah. So actually, we're not too far away from Leicester. If Leicester slip up a little bit more, you never know. Obviously, we'd have to go on a good run of form, and if we keep playing like we are right now, there's no reason why we can't do that. Obviously, Greenwood was mentioned there, and for me, I think Greenwood played well today. As we've already established, Greenwood, pretty much everyone in the squad had a good game. I thought Greenwood has looked lively since the restart. I think he's someone who has definitely got a future at the club. I mean, I think we already knew that before the game started. But he looks dangerous every time he gets the ball. He's always looking to make stuff happen and do things. And I think that maybe he preferred to be through the middle. I know obviously for the academy he was the number 9 and he was scoring a lot of goals for the academy when he was at the number 9 spot. But it's going to be difficult for him to break through at that number 9 role, especially if Martial keeps putting in the similar performances that he is. But obviously there's a bit of a debate between Greenwood and James right now. Should James play ahead of Greenwood? Who should start out of the two of them? James obviously came on when Solskjaer made 5 substitutions all at once. But yeah, I want to ask you, Darryl, I want to ask you guys in the live chat as well. Who do you think should start? Should it be Greenwood or Daniel James starting? Obviously, looking at today's evidence, you'd probably argue for Mason Greenwood. But I want to know, in terms of who should start, who would you pick, Greenwood or Daniel James?
Greenwood for me, I think today he was quite quiet. I thought he was quite quiet today. He didn't have that much of the ball really, and I don't see him as a right winger. If you're talking about, who should start between Greenwood and James for right mid or right wing, I would certainly go for Daniel James, because he suits that right mid spot, and he's more used to playing there. Greenwood for me is more of a striker. I would prefer having him as a striker than having him as a right wing, because I just don't see how he can play as a right mid or right winger, because I just don't think he's capable of that. But if it was me, I think there's only going to be one answer. If it's me, I would start Dan James, because he's got more experience in that position.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, Dan James, as you said, is probably a more experienced right winger, and obviously he started most of the games before the lockdown, and I can't say he did a bad job. I think there were some games where he played poorly, but in terms of his pace, teams do find it very hard to contend against, and especially when we're playing some really good counter-attacking football. Having someone like Dan James running behind is just gold dust for the midfielders. Mo weighs in and says Greenwood against defensive teams, James against teams that we can hurt on the counter, and I probably would agree with that opinion, Mo. I agree with what you said there. I think Mason Greenwood is probably better at kind of creating that little thing, that little spark that could get us a goal. But I think Daniel James, if you're looking for a player that can run between the lines and hurt tired legs, I think Dan James is your man. And I was thinking potentially, with the fact that Sheffield United were wilting at the end there, I thought Daniel James could have got on the score sheet, but unfortunately he just didn't have he wasn't getting the balls to him to get on the score sheet, and that's the way it goes. But obviously to have those two options for a side like us who love to counter attack and have right now some really budding midfield players who can put a ball on the sixpence for our forward players, it seems, is good news. Welcome Graham, thanks for joining, really appreciate it. He says, Kieran, 3 points mate, 3 points, exactly, 3 points is all that matters, and that's all that matters. As I said, to get the 3 points in the game today, we needed them. We needed those 3 points. It's obviously a 2-point gap between us and Chelsea now. Chelsea play Man City next, and that is going to be a very interesting watch. Very interesting indeed. We have to hope that Man City are on their A game and take Chelsea to the cleaners. But I think Chelsea are going to turn up and I think Chelsea, could get a good result from that. Who knows? I don't want to tempt fate, but they could. Graham, yeah, exactly. Let's build on that. We have to build on our good performance today, and we have to build on all of our good performances. And welcome, BMO. Thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate it. Martial masterclass. I totally agree, mate. Totally agree. Martial masterclass. A hat-trick for Anthony Martial, 14 goals in the Premier League, absolutely sensational for him. Graham says, also Rashford and Martial both on 14 goals with 7 games to go. Can they get the golden boot? I mean, I'm going to ask Dazza this question in just a second. I mean, my thoughts on it is that, if they were to get the golden boot from here, it would almost be miraculous. But, obviously with the fact that games are behind closed doors and as teams get a bit more leggy, obviously we're playing the amount of games that they are, I think you could see scorelines go up and up and up, so you never ever know. But I would just love to see the pair of them get to 30 plus goals for the season, because a lot of people doubted Rashford and Martial being strike force this season. But if they were to get 35 to 40 goals combined this season, you can't argue with that. Mo says golden boot is a bit of a long shot. Well, yeah, I think it's a bit long. Dazza, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Graham's asked a question there. Do you think Rashford and Martial could go for the golden boot this season?
I tell you, it's a tough question. I have to say, really tough question. 7 games to go. They're both on 14 goals. What's Jamie Vardy on at the minute? Because I think Jamie Vardy, if I'm not mistaken, is the top scorer.
Yeah, I think he is. I'm not sure what Jamie Vardy's on.
In order for Martial to become the top scorer in the league, he would have to be scoring for fun in every game. And he isn't far off. He's at the minute 9th, joint 8th. Rashford's on 8th and Martial's 9th. They're both on 14. They're only 5 goals behind Jamie Vardy. But I can't see the likes of Aubameyang, Vardy and Salah not scoring. I can't see them, letting go of the golden boot. I don't think Martial's going to get it, or Rashford. I think if in order for them to do so, they're going to have to play out their skin every game. You're going to have to be getting goals. I'd be saying they'd have to get at least a double every game in order for them to get it, because I really can't see players like the quality players like that, letting go of the title. I really can't see them getting it, unfortunately. It'd be nice to see them get it, but they would have to work their socks off to get it. I think it's a bit of an ask, if I'm truthfully honest.
Yeah, obviously, as you said there, as Graham said as well, obviously Vardy's got 19. They're only 5 away from Jamie Vardy. So I guess if Leicester had a bad patch and we had an amazing patch, then you could see potentially one of them get golden boot. And I'd love for that to happen, because we haven't had a Man United player get golden boot since Robin van Persie, since we last won the league. So it'd be amazing if that happened. As I said, I don't see that happening this season, unfortunately. But as I said, as Mo says, the future's bright. The future is bright. We've got front three that are capable of 25 goals a season individually. We haven't had that in a while, says Mo. And I agree with that. I think, the way Rashford was playing, especially before the lockdown, not so much after the lockdown, but before the lockdown, he was scoring goals for fun. And the injury was really unfortunate for him, because I think if he didn't get injured, he'd still be, absolutely on fire right now. But obviously, Martial seems to be picking up where he left off. So, yeah, as I said, the future is bright, and potentially with more signings, Sancho potentially coming in as well, it definitely is bright. TTX says we don't create enough chances for our forwards to score. We saw that today, and that's because we had space to operate around. Well, for me, I think Sheffield were quite tired today, and there are a few times where the passes from the midfielders just didn't have enough quality to get through to the forward players. We could have had 5 or 6 today, to be fair, with Rashford missing those 2 chances. So it could have had a completely different look to it, the score. But in the end of the day, I think it comes with time. And the good thing I've noticed is the fact that when you've got players like Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba in the team, obviously they've got the quality of delivery going forward. So they can obviously play balls over the top with a lot more quality to the forward players, and if the forward players know that, they're going to want to make more runs in behind. So that's obviously the major positive. Moses would create quite a lot of chances today. Yeah, I think Sheffield United definitely looked quite tired towards the end, and we managed to create a lot of chances, even when we made those 5 substitutions. Odin Igalo could have got on the score sheet today as well. So, yeah, obviously, a 3-0 win's fantastic. You can't complain about that. But the future's bright. Daz, what are your thoughts? Is the future bright at Manchester United? Maybe a bit of a stupid question, but I want to ask you anyway. Is the future bright at Manchester United? I'll give you a follow-up question to that. What signings need to be made to make the future even brighter?
I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it?
It is tough. It's tough on the spot.
It is. Yeah, you're not wrong there. I do think a lot of the players in the team do have bright futures. Greenwood. I mean, he's still got a lot of years left in him. He's been good. He's been a good youth player to have. You got the likes of Chong, who he doesn't get started often. No, that's the only thing. But I've seen him play. He's played for the 23s sometimes, and we've got some very good young players in the team. They just need to be given game time. That in order for me to really answer that, because we don't see them enough in the games. And in my opinion, I think if we're going to sign players next season, it's a hard one, really. It's a really hard one. I would say.
What would your thoughts be on potentially signing Jadon Sancho, or as Mo says, James Maddison?
Well, I have to say, Jadon Sancho, right? Very good. He's a very good player in the Bundesliga, but would he be good enough in the Premier League? I don't really think so. And plus, he's 110 million, which in my opinion is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous price. So I wouldn't want Jadon Sancho at the club. I know a lot of people will say that might be a foolish decision, but I don't think so. I don't think we need him. I think we've got good enough players. But I mean, you got James, you got Greenwood playing right wing. I think on the right hand side we're fine. The left hand side, Rashford has adapted into that left mid role. He's normally been the striker, and Martial's normally been on the left. So a bit of a different switch of roles, really, isn't it, for them? But I think if we're gonna bring anyone in, I would say maybe James Maddison would be a good option. But for Leicester City, who we knew, would he be able to handle the immense pressure at Manchester United is the question. Probably yes, because he knows what it's like to play against the big teams, because he's played against the big teams for Leicester City. I nearly forgotten the team already. But he's played big teams, so he knows what it's like to play in this league, in a league of this calibre. So I think if we bring in James Maddison, then that's a good addition to the midfield. Question is, would he get starts ahead of the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Pogba?
It's a good question.
We'd have to see, really, would we? We'd have to see.
Exactly. I mean, obviously with James Maddison coming in as well, would it really fit in with the balance of our midfielders? We've got it right now. Obviously, we've got Bruno Fernandes and Pogba in there, who are the more forward-facing midfielders, the guys that create the chances. And then you have to have that kind of defensive shield behind them in Nemanja Matic, who I thought played very, very well today. And I'm going to get on to something else as well, just afterwards, on Nemanja Matic as well. But I think James Maddison isn't really that way inclined in terms of his defensive ability. So I don't know. I just think I'm not sure if James Maddison would really fit in. And with Jadon Sancho, obviously, I think he's a decent player, but the money is going to be quite a lot. And it's going to be one of those ones where I think the transfer will happen purely just because of all the speculation that's going on right now, all of the stories that are flying around. I feel like there's got to be some truth to them, in my opinion. And I feel that Jadon Sancho could be coming to Old Trafford. But obviously, Daz, you watch the Bundesliga more than most people. So Obviously, you probably have a much more informed opinion on how Jadon Sancho plays than I do. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how Jadon Sancho fits in the Premier League. Obviously, he played for Man City's youngsters, but at the same time, he hasn't really played in the Premier League as it is right now. But TCX's Sheffield's left-hand side today were awful. We did well to exploit it, and we looked good when we built up our play. Yeah, obviously, Egan suspended for this game? I'm not sure if he was
John Egan got sent off against
Newcastle. He was one of their main defenders, and I remember you saying that, Daz, in your
they missed. I think they missed him. I think they really missed him. Because without him, and I said, as you just mentioned, we said this on the watch on earlier on, that without him, Sheffield United struggled defensively. I can't remember who came in for them. I know Dean Henderson wasn't playing. Their goalkeeper, Moore, he was crap. He was absolutely crap. And for Sheffield United, up front, they did not look like scoring. They didn't look like scoring at all. It was like watching an average League One team.
Yeah.
It was literally... They were literally that bad. And they're meant to be a team who are trying to get into the Champions League spots. My God. Jesus. I've seen better performances from friggin' Hartlepool, mate. Literally. Jesus Christ. It was all too easy in that game. It was way too easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you said earlier, it could have been 5, it could have been 6, it could have been 8-0. It could have been on for a record-breaking score. They were that bad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Mo says, not foolish at all. I also think Sancho might not be the best player for us. We see glimpses of his flaws when he plays with Prem players for England. It's almost as if he plays at a slower pace. Maybe that is the case. But yeah, and by the way, as Dad said in the chat, don't worry about getting your words mixed up. It's sweltering. I'm not sure where you are, but it's very, very hot right now here. It's 27 degrees. Yeah, it's very, very hot, so don't worry about it, mate. It's a long, as Dad said, it's been a long night. It's warm, so don't worry about it. I've probably got a few things mixed up in this stream. Hopefully you guys didn't notice, but I'm sure I did. But yeah, Daz, finally, because I'm probably going to wrap up we've been live for about 32 minutes, so I'm probably going to wrap it up soon. Let's look ahead to the next few fixtures. Obviously, we've got Norwich in the FA Cup in the quarter-final. And then we've got Brighton as well in the Premier League. We've got Aston. We have to play Aston Villa. I'm not exactly sure of the exact order of these fixtures, but we have to play.
It is the exact order.
Yeah. So let's just stop there. Let's just stop there because I don't think I know much after that. I know we have to play Leicester at some point. But obviously we've got some important fixtures coming up in terms of Norwich and Brighton. So, what are your thoughts? Oh, apparently it's -2 in Johannesburg. Wow, it's that cold. Minus temperatures. I mean, but greetings.
And you're in summer.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, greetings from South Africa, my friend. It's cool to have someone watching all the way from South Africa. So thanks for joining. I don't think I ever knew that you were from South Africa, Mo. But anyway, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. And watching from. I was going to say sunny South Africa, but it clearly isn't at the moment. But yeah, obviously we've got those games to look forward to. First of all, how would you change the team for Norwich? Would you would you kind of weaken the team a little bit, take a few of those first team players out, like Pogba, like Martial, or would you keep it the same because we want a trip to Wembley, or would you go? No, okay, that's the first question, and as you can tell, it's warm and a long night. Okay, right. Basically, the first question is, would you change the lineup for Norwich? Would you strengthen it? Would you weaken? I mean, you can't really strengthen it, but would you weaken it or would you keep it the same? And looking ahead to the Brighton Aston Villa games, do you think that potentially going away to those sides will be tougher than the test we faced today? Just before you answer that, I'm Mo Hersey. Thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate it. He says, I'm still angry for Ollie with the Spurs result. We were 4 right now. Play this lineup every week. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And obviously, yeah, if we'd got the 3 points against Spurs, that would have been absolutely huge. But thanks for joining, Mo Hersey. Thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate it. But yeah, Daz, answer away.
First of all, I think with that comment you've just read out, I would say it was more of a point gained from the Spurs game because we were lucky not to be 3 or 4-0 down at half time with the way we played first half. Terrible. But when Pogba came on, we looked like a completely different team. So I say the point gained rather than 2 points dropped. Especially Sean Cowter from coming from 1-0 down. Even though it was a penalty, who cares, you know? Pointing is better than getting out, really.
I guess so.
On your question, no. With regards to the Norwich game, Norwich, I mean, realistically, we should steamroll them, you know, because they're at the minute doing terribly bad in the league at the minute. But I don't think we're going to steamroll them, if I'm honest, because, you know, we're against a Norwich team who've actually caused a shock against Manchester City. You know, so they can nick points and nick goals against the big teams. And obviously we've played them both times this season. We annihilated them at Old Trafford and we only won 3-1 away from home. So that shows that Norwich can cause problems. But given the way they've been playing recently since lockdown ended, they got annihilated against Southampton and didn't look like scoring. And today, looking at the stats, they were actually the better team against Everton in the first half, but then they just fell apart in the second half. So, you know, they're like a 45-minute team. They play good one half and then play a bad second half. So if they go 1-0 up, they're just going to try and defend it, really. So I can see them causing a few problems. I would say it's a tough one because obviously Bruno Fernandes picked up a slight knock in the first half to his right knee. So we don't know. I mean, he came out in the second half, so I'm assuming it wasn't that bad. But that's one to worry about because he might not start. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to try and rest a few of the players for the Brighton game. Yeah. Because realistically, the Brighton game is going to be a lot tougher than the Norwich game and much tougher than today's game because we have a poor record at the Amex. We do not have a good record at all. Like the last 2 visits, we've lost by either 1-0 or 3-2, I think it was. We lost by 1 goal both times. And last time we went was absolutely embarrassing. We were like 3-0 down at half time. You know, so you know, we're against teams who realistically we should win, but it's not going to be easy. I think he's going to rest some of the big names. I think he'll play some of the players who came on today. Those 5 players that came on as the subs today, I think they'll all start. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did put Sergio Romero in goal and gave David De Gea a rest.
Good shout.
I'd be surprised if he starts the first team. But against Brighton, we have to go. If he does play reserve players and stuff, then we have to play the first team against Brighton because if we don't, we're going to lose. Literally. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're right. 100%. I think Brighton's going to be a much tougher test, and I think he'll slightly weaken the team against Sheffield. And I think not against Sheffield, against Norwich. Sorry. But yeah, I think Daniel James will definitely start. I think Romero is a good shout as well. I think Romero will get a goal. And we're probably seeing the likes of Pereira play maybe as well. And also Bayer. I reckon Bayer will probably play against Norwich as well. We've got a comment. This is Owen on my account. Obviously, as you can see my hands, I'm not touching my account. I'm streaming right now. Owen has asked a question. Obviously, Big O on the account. He's asked a question for both of us. And Mo has actually answered it. So good on Mo. He says, "This is Owen. I have a question for both people. Do you think after this performance, the writing is on the wall for Shaw?" Well, listen, I don't think Shaw had a terrible game today. I really don't. I think Luke Shaw actually going forward wasn't too bad. He created a few chances. And for me, I don't see why the writing's on the wall for him. Mo says it perfectly. Says Shaw's ball carries were immense today. I thought his ball carries were fantastic. I thought Shaw going forward was very assured, if you pardon the pun. His defensive
Are you
positioning...
sure about it?
Classic Daz. But his defensive positioning was a little bit off at times. But I think actually Luke Shaw wasn't too bad. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat and the comments below. But Daz, what do you make of Owen's comments here? Do you think they're misguided?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think the writing's on the wall for him.
Yeah.
I think he had a decent game. There was no one in that squad today who really put a foot on that I could pick out. And I think, yes, I agree. Luke Shaw's defensive positioning wasn't amazing. His positioning does need improving. But on the ball, he was good. And, he was making a few runs down that left-hand side, which caused problems. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I noticed that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes to play attacking fullbacks that overlap, because I noticed Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I noticed they were both overlapping on occasions, and it works because it takes another player out of the game, So the more you do that, the better it is. And I have to say, I don't really agree with what Owen's put, if I'm honest. I have no disrespect, but I don't agree, because the writing is not on the wall. I still think he's got a couple of years still in him. And if he keeps playing like he has done, if he plays like he did today against whoever he next plays against, if he keeps doing that for the rest of the season, I think he'll be fine. But he's definitely going to be at United next season. I can guarantee that.
No, 100%.
But I don't know how long he's going to be at United for.
Well, I think if Shaw keeps playing the way he is, I think he'll be at United for a long time. But anyway, Daz, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Just want to say thank you very much to everyone who has watched today. Really appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. By the way, the person I've been on call with is Daryl from Daz's Football Stand. His link is in the description down below. Let's try and get him closer to 1,000 subscribers. About to say 100,000, which would have been even crazier, but 1,000.
My God, that would be a monumental achievement.
I'm sure you'll get there one day, Daz.
Getting 900 is monumental for me.
But make sure you check out his channel in the description down below. Top link in the description. But thanks for coming on, Daz. Appreciate it, and thanks for having me on your watch long as well. Really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on.
No worries. It's been a good night, actually.
As it has. Obviously, the only downside is Liverpool's winning, but to be fair, we always knew Liverpool.
Well, I mean, realistically, what did we expect?
Exactly. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'll see you guys for the next game, which is the Norwich City game. So I'll see you guys then, unless there's any breaking news in between. But anyway, thanks for watching.